All right, guys, so where we're at with the truck, we actually got I put LS7 lifters and lifter trays and basically a stock style setup back in. LS7 lifter's a much better lifter than the stock lifter. Not as good as the comp cams one that we had, but put that in with took the 7-inch 400 thousandths push rods, and the thing fired right up. I put a new set of plugs because it was running a little bit rough, and now it runs great. Also, we took the truck for its maiden voyage, just a quick little down the road and back. All right, so I made a mistake and I did not film the first, I wouldn't call it a full pull. It was like 3,000 to 5,200 pull in front of the house. And first off, this truck pulls really hard. This thing is fast. It's really light too, so I'm made about 10 pounds of boost. The problem is it made 10 pounds of boost on wastegate pressure, and we're not looking for that. And so that tells me that the spring that's in these wastegates is too tight. So what I'm doing right now, I took the front off, it just clips right on. So I got the one wastegate top off, and basically it had the thick spring in it. Luckily the guy left. These wastegates come with 2 springs. There's usually a thick and a thin. I like to run just the thin spring, and then I like to let the boost controller figure everything out. It's nice when you can just run basically no boost on wastegate, and then you can just control everything with the Mac valve. So I'm gonna go ahead and slap this small spring back in it. Probably take it for a ride here in a little bit, and I'll film that. This spring should really only give us 4 or 5 pounds, if that. Also, I'm an idiot. I thought that the spring was the heavier spring. I put the smaller spring in, and the thing still ran up to like 17 pounds of boost pretty quick. And then I realized I never plumbed the compressor side of the turbo to the lower part of the wastegate. So there was nothing basically pushing the wastegate open aside from whatever exhaust gas was coming by, and I don't think that's enough to get it done. So now I've got a hose coming from the compressor side of the turbo to the lower half of both wastegates. The T's in right there. The upper hose is for the dome pressure, which will come from the Mac valves and the CO2 tank inside the truck. Also did a couple other things to kind of clean it up. I had like just a regular hose here with some hose clamps. I wanted it to look a little nicer, so I put a push to connect line. Also took the map sensor, put it up in the vacuum block just to kind of clean that up down there, give us a little more room. Still need to figure out the intake side. Like I said, this is a non-intercooled setup and I am not a fan of it. The intake air temps get up to 170, 180 really quick, and that's at really low boost. So more than likely, I don't know. There's Holley's. I want the Holley low ram with the sandwich style intake intercooler, and the Holley low rams are just not in stock at all. I think TSP has one as well. I think it's a little more pricey though to do that whole setup. But the other thing I've been knocking around the idea of doing is calling Alki Control and then maybe doing something like that. But I mean, with that's the cheapest upfront cost, but then I would have to be constantly buying, boost juice and methanol and water mixture and all that stuff. So I don't know, we'll see. Not really, there's still so many little things I need to do this truck. That one's pretty much next on the list though. Outside of that, my brake line fitting. So this was the one that was leaking. I don't know how well you can see it, but this flare is awful. And this fitting was on here. And so basically it went like this. And it was leaking from between the flare and this fitting right here. And so what I did was I just went to O'Reilly's or Advance, one of the two. And I just got a fitting with the right size fittings to do away with that. So now I don't have to have that adapter, and I just bent it myself. You know, they sell these like prefabricated 10-inch lines, I think they were. So, you know, I just took my little tubing bender, bent it real quick, stuck it on, bled the brakes, and now we are solid. Line lock's hooked up. I think I need to adjust this at some point. I've never messed with a line lock, but I'll eventually figure that out. All right, next issue that we have with the truck is trying to put it up on the trans brake. Been messing with the tune a little bit. I'm starting to get it pretty close here. You know, like I've gotten it down into like single digit closed loop corrections, like 7-8% for the areas that I've been messing with it. But for some reason, when I put it up on the trans brake, it just won't really go past, you know, 32. And at that rate, it takes a while to get up there. It takes like 7 seconds just to even build like 3.5 pounds of boost. And it hits the rev limiter really soft. So I've been messing with it a little bit. I've been adding, I've got it set to when I hit the trans brake, it will add like 12 degrees of timing to put me at like 30 some odd, you know, 35, 36 degrees. And it helped a little bit, but honestly, I feel like it needs like a dump valve or something. I think this converter is really tight. You know, the converter pretty much feels like it grabs right away. I could actually pull open a data log and like see exactly where it grabs. But like I'm 90% positive I either need one of those quick spool valves or a dump valve or something like that to get this thing to really light off. So moving inside the truck, just to really show you guys, I'm pretty much at the point where it's done. Well, with the exception of one thing. This shifter is a forward manual valve body for Turbo 400. The truck has a reverse manual. So I actually ordered the Motion Raceworks, the new shifter they have, the operator shifter, reverse manual Turbo 400 with the CO2 attachment. And I already have that all hooked up, just waiting. So, so real quick inside, all of this stuff works. Buttons, the Holly dash works. I have it set up the way I want it. Parachute works, went through and repacked that. And then here's the CO2 system. I've got the bottle full. Basically got the CO2 coming around. This is just the Holly stuff that I left there. But so I've got the CO2 run around, and up under here, well, it's going to tee off. So I'm just waiting on some tees. So it's gonna tee off and then move to this line will go to the shifter, and the other line will continue on to, well, so it's gonna come under, this line here will be a T, so it'll tee into, from here to here, this will go back out to the boost controller, the Mac valve out there, this coming from the bottle. The other line will come back to, and I think it's already there, but it's going to come back to this Mac valve. So it'll go in the fill side of the Mac valve here. And then the outside here, which is this line, will go into the new shifter that I have, since it's an air shifter. So we'll have air. I've already got it hooked up in the Holly. This is pretty much how I have, I mean, everything's set up. I pretty much just, I loomed off what I could, and then I ran out of loom, so I started just kind of zip tying what I had together. You know, and I tried to do it as neat as I could. You know, I zip tied as much as I could out of the way. I didn't have a red cord, but I had a cable, but I had a black one, so I just labeled it positive to come to this distribution block. I got MSD solid state relay as well. This is actually for the Mac valve for the shifter. I'm probably just gonna get some tape and tape this off so, you know, it doesn't just like stick out. But I mean, I tried to do the best I could. I am not a professional by any means. So, you know, like I really wanted to loom all of this stuff the whole way, but I got really impatient. So instead I just zip tied it all together. I mean, it's all run pretty straight. I used as many different colors as I could, and then I labeled it where I could so I can tell what wires what. If I'm having an issue, I know exactly where to go to. I know exactly where the wires are running to. This is the first vehicle I've ever completely wired. Nothing was wired on this truck at all. Not one thing. Still actually need to get some headlights. This way I can wire up the headlights and the taillights. But yeah, I mean, everything's been done out here. I've got the 2 power junction kind of studs for the positive and negative terminals outside in the firewall. Mounted the MAC valves up there. Vacuum block, obviously. Put some heat wrap around the wires that come up underneath. This way they don't get burned up on the exhaust manifold. And then, you know, loomed up what I could. And I wanted the truck to look, like I said when I bought this truck was very clean when I first bought it, and it was, you know, pretty much just chassis work and an engine and transmission and stuff, like a drivetrain was dropped in it, but nothing was hooked up. So I tried to do everything as clean as I could. With the time with the time I had, as far as like my patience, and then, you know, what I was willing to like purchase, and, you know, what I had and stuff. So a couple of things I would have liked to do different. I mean, I would have liked for these coils to probably be mounted somewhere different, but I mean, they work for now. Actually, I wanted them up here instead of on this other bar, but you know, it's fine. They work fine. I just had to angle this one because the front tire kind of rubs it a little bit. I actually need to adjust the ride height still some, so, and it's really the only one I turn it to full lockout, so it's not a huge deal. Other thing I need to do, I need some dump tubes for the wastegates to get those just away from like blowing hot air into the intake. And then, you know, I don't really like it. I at least want it to shoot down and out or something. But I found those on eBay. Not really too concerned about that. I mean, guys, aside from that, everything's going really well with this truck. You know, glad I was able to at least show you guys a little bit of the kind of small street test passes that I've been doing. You know, just kind of creeping up on it with the time that I have now that, you know, I mean, I'm back at work and stuff, and yeah, no, we're getting there. So a couple small things I want to make sure, you know, I know it's not going to be perfect when I take it out the first time, but I want to make sure it's at least safe as possible. So as far as for me, and then for breaking parts too. So definitely gonna fix or figure out this intercooler setup, whether I do some sort of intercooler or, you know, meth injection or something for now. And then a couple small things that I have to that I'll go through. I got a trans pan leaking, and then the dump valve setup. There's really no point in going out there and getting crazy if I can't leave the line at all, you know. So we'll see how that goes. It left really well on the street. You know, granted there was like no boost in it, and I turned the timing way down because of the intake air temp thing. But it felt like it was a pretty nice little street hit, you know, a little 60-foot street hit. But as you guys know, I'm trying to do no prep stuff. So, you know, we'll see how it goes. Still in the market for a Fox body, still looking. Just the one time I found the right one, the dude sold it like that quick, and it was out of state. So I know a lot of people that follow me are like Fox body diehards and stuff, which I mean, I absolutely love Fox bodies. I'm just, again, looking for something more old school, daily drivable, something I can drive on the street really often, and this will be the race vehicle. So anyway, guys, as always, thanks for watching. Take care. I'll see you on the next one.